after 3 engagements of the First Order following the Battle of Starkiller Base. The first being the battle against the Dreadnought at Dakar, where the Resistance lost its entire bomber fleet. Then the second battle mid-route to Crate, where the Resistance then lost the remainder of its main fleet. And then finally the Battle of Crate itself, which, based on what we saw on screen, left only around 15 or so Resistance fighters who survived the battle and managed to escape, along of course the remaining few pilots on Poe's Black Squadron, who were off on a rescue mission elsewhere. Considering all of that, it's safe to say that the Resistance was almost completely wiped out from these 3 battles, and found itself in an incredibly horrid state, having no fleet left, along with its member numbers now ranging only in the tens, rather than in the hundreds or thousands like the former Rebel Alliance once had. Yeah, there's no denying that the odds were already stacked against the small Resistance operation versus the intimidating First Order before, but now there was absolutely no argument to be made. The Resistance was thoroughly crushed and left with practically nothing, while the First Order, who also had suffered major losses, still had a grand fleet under its disposal and ready to invade the galaxy now with a new leader. And because of the state of the Resistance after The Last Jedi is why Episode 9 will see a time jump, allowing the Resistance some time to recuperate and attempt to rebuild. But how does the Resistance start to look like after The Last Jedi? That's something that no one was really able to answer, especially when leaving the theater after seeing the movie. However, rather than waiting until Episode 9 for that answer, it seems that Disney has already given us a glimpse of what is to come, as the trailer for a new ride at the upcoming Star Wars Galaxy's Edge theme park has shown us what the Resistance fleet now looks like after the events of The Last Jedi. And before anyone asks, yes, this amusement park ride is supposed to be canon, just like everything else at the theme park. And this is because the events at the theme park are supposed to take place after The Last Jedi. Which makes sense, as we know the Resistance never really engaged the First Order before the Battle of Dakar, at least not in a fleet-to-fleet battle. So looking at the Resistance fleet now and seeing just how much it improved since The Last Jedi is impressive to say the least. Just from this shot alone of the Resistance fleet attacking a First Order Star Destroyer, we see 20 ships in total. Out of that are 15 starfighters, 3 frigates, and 2 cruisers. And when you compare to what the Resistance had just after the Battle of Crate, which was nothing but a few starfighters and the Millennium Falcon, I'd say, yeah, this is impressive, but it also makes you think, as after the destruction of Hazian Prime, it's possible that Leia's remaining finances in the bank were destroyed, ultimately leaving the Resistance broke. So considering that, it only leads people to ask more questions on where and how the Resistance were able to get all these ships from. Now we know from the comics that after the Battle of Crate, Gracchus the Hutt started supporting the Resistance, and like most Hutt crime lords, Gracchus had a lot of credits to splurge on whatever he wanted, even more so considering he was an avid collector of old Jedi artifacts, which were quite rare and expensive to find and purchase. So him coming to replace Leia as the main financier of the Resistance would explain where the Resistance suddenly obtained the capital needed to purchase new ships. But what about the manpower to operate and fly them? And there's also a possible answer for that in the comics as well, as after the Battle of Crate, Black Squadron helped a planet called Ikruk fight off against a First Order invasion and destroying the Fortitude, a Maxima A-class heavy cruiser in the process. And as a result, the planet agreed to join and help the Resistance. So not only would the Resistance potentially gain finances from Ikruk, but also Ikrukian pilots, troops, engineers, and so on would help maintain the Resistance fleet. Of course, that's only a small bit of things that we currently know in the canon regarding the Resistance after The Last Jedi. Chances are we might see even more in this new theme park ride at Galaxy's Edge, which, based on its title, The Rise of the Resistance, would stand to reason of it being just that. And again, considering the evident time jump we'll most likely see in Episode 9, I wouldn't be surprised to see other planets already part of the Resistance and a much greater fleet in general in Episode 9. Who knows, maybe this time we'll actually get to see a good large-scale space battle in the sequel trilogy. But let me know what you all think about how the Resistance will look like in Episode 9, and whether or not they'll actually have a fleet strong enough to really tackle the First Order Navy head-on. And that'll do it for this video. Be sure to like and share it, and keep it here to Silo for everything on the latest in Star Wars. I'll see you on the next one.